QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021 tax line mapping, export data from QuickBooks to Excel for an S corporation. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Here we are in our Test Corp tax file. We currently have our open windows open. You can open the open windows by going to the view dropdown, selecting the open windows list. In prior presentations, we set up our QuickBooks file here within QuickBooks so that we can then export it to our tax software practicing with here, tax software of Lacert, owned by the same owners of QuickBooks, that being Intuit. So once we enter the data into the QuickBooks, we assign the mapping to go to the proper mapping location for the type of tax file that we're going to be exporting to. In this case, a S corporation, exporting then to the tax form of the 1120S. So we then exported it to the 1120S here in QuickBooks. And now we have some reconciling items and some adjustments that we need to then do. I would recommend doing those then in Excel. So I would now export the information from QuickBooks to Excel so we can build our little worksheet that will look something like this, our standard kind of adjusting worksheet, so that we can then do our reconciliation. Now, this might not be totally necessary if your S corporation is not as complete or complex, I should say, for example. Then you might just be able to run like a profit and loss, like go to the reports dropdown, company and financial, run a profit and loss, for example, from 01/01/19 to 12/31/19. And if I get that 12/31/19, and then you can kind of reconcile the net income possibly and make your adjustments down here and just basically write down on the bottom of this report after you print it out, kind of the reconciliation. But I think it would be best to do in Excel with like a Excel adjusting entry type of worksheet, so that if audited in the future, we can have that reconciliation give us a double check that everything's in there properly. So what I'll do is I'll export then the trial balance to Excel, and then we'll use that and build out our Excel worksheet, and then we'll think about how we can enter like M1 entries and Schedule K entries and fix any kind of problems from QuickBooks to the tax software. So we're going to go then to the reports dropdown. We're going to go to the accounting and taxes. Let's take a look at the trial balance. So within the trial balance, I'm going to change the dates from 01/01/19 to 12/31/19. There's our trial balance. This is basically what we exported then to the tax software. Now let's export it to Excel. Going to go to the Excel drop down here. We're going to create a new worksheet. And then we're going to create a new workbook as well. So new workbook, new worksheet. We're going to go ahead and export this item. There it is. And then we do some standard kind of formatting with this. It often adds like a second tab here. Hold on a second. Second tab on the left. And so I'm going to go there. I don't need that tab. So I'm just going to right click on that tab, delete it. Now we're going to practice some formatting in Excel. This isn't an Excel course, but we want to just practice, making this into a worksheet that would look something like this. Now, note some people would just take the template of this worksheet and just add the new accounts into it. That's one way you could do it. Or you could just build the whole thing up again. It doesn't take too much time to do, but either way, I'm going to go back on over and we're just going to build this thing up. So before we do that, standard formatting, however, it usually will have the splits up top. I'm going to remove the splits. I usually go to the View tab down below and say OK, so I can see where this page splits are at. Then I go to the View tab up top, going to go to the Windows group, remove those splits, get those out of there. Then I'm going to go back to the first View tab, the normal view, and then we're going to make our adjustments here. Now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go to the home page, going to say File, Save As, and browse to where we would like to put this thing. I'm going to put it into our folder we've been working on. So here it is. I'm going to put it into the trial balance. So I'll just call it trial balance for, let's make it an S Corp. S Corp. And then I'll save that. And I'm going to say, yes, please. And then there we have it. So next time we'll open this up and we'll do like our Excel type of formatting so that we can format this out, and then we can basically compare what's in Lacert to what we have here in Excel and or to the QuickBooks file.